way to the airport to fly with Patience. Patience, can you say hi? I thought it might be an interesting video talking about traveling with a guide dog because it's a complicated process and it's not as straightforward as it used to be. About 10 years ago when I started traveling with guide dogs, there was never any problems. I'd call up the airline, they'd put in all the accommodations, it was really easy to send documentation in if you needed to, and most airlines didn't even check. But these days, because of the rise of emotional support animals and the explosion in service dogs and fake service dogs and just how many people are using animals for different purposes and roles, it's becoming increasingly complicated to try and get your guide dog or service dog who is registered and legitimate onto a plane. This trip has been no exception. I am not going to name the airline, but I had to spend more than 20 hours on hold, and I wish that was hyperbolization, but it's probably underplaying the amount of time I was on hold. When I actually got a hold of somebody, the airline people didn't know the difference between guide dogs and emotional support animals and were giving me a bunch of grief about my dog being too big and not fitting on the plane and telling me I needed to submit documentation, but then sending me to a page where I couldn't submit documentation, where it only had the definition of what an emotional support animal is. It was a mess. It actually ended up that I needed to call the Canadian Air Transport Association to help act as mediator to finally get a resolution, because with more than 20 hours on hold and nobody knowing what to do and them telling me, oh, we'll just go to the airport and the flights being canceled all over the place, it was not something I really wanted to risk. Hopefully they have all of that sorted out for us today, but if not, we're going a little bit early to make sure that I can get assistance to the gate, make sure that I get on the plane safely, make sure that they have somebody who's going to meet us on the other side, and try and maintain dignity and independence as much as possible. So I'm going to take you along with me and film as much as I am able. I don't know that I'll be able to film going through security or how much I'll be able to get, but I'll do my best. So I'll see you when we get to the airport. Up, down. Oh no, don't get tangled. How do you always get so tangled? Okay, Basie, up, down.
This way, I gotta get rid of this garbage, and we're gonna cross the crosswalk.
Do you have any baggage?
I just have the carry-on. Well, personal item.
Okay. For you. Okay. I will grab you a wheelchair and then I will take you there.
Is it 2 seats or 1 that they booked?
Where it is, there's no seats in front of it.
No. Normally they do the seat beside for the service dog if they're able to.
There is nobody beside you at the moment.
Okay.
Just give me 1 sec. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's quite all right. Can you please confirm for me that I am in row 2?
2D.
Okay, perfect. So that's window. Can you tell me if it's a 747 we're flying on, or if it's
Or
a
737 or a prop plane?
I got so many questions today.
I'm sorry.
No.
I just want to make sure I'm in the window so she's not in the aisle.
No, she's all ready to go. I'm going to switch passes with you.
Okay.
Your window.
Now you're in 2
Do you want to escort her into the back, or do you want me to take her?
I'm happy to have them take me.
I think so.
Have you take her? Me?
One of you guys? Yeah, that's all right. So they had me in the aisle.
Yeah, they had you now. Now you're in the window.
I'm glad you checked for me.
Because 2D is usually an aisle seat.
Yeah.
On a 737.
But on a prop plane, it's the window.
Right. Probably really come to share.
Okay, perfect. Come on, Pacey.
Thank you so much.
Pacey, you. I made it through security and now I'm waiting at the gate for my flight. I have about an hour, so I'm going to try and catch up on a little bit of work first. Getting through security can always be an adventure, as can be getting seats arranged and making sure that I have accommodations and having somebody lead me to the gate. Today I am in a wheelchair because I broke my ankle a few weeks ago and I'm not making it very far on it yet. Normally at this airport I would walk because this airport only has about 6 gates and I know where all of the gates are, as do all of my dogs because I fly in and out of this airport all the time. They did have me booked in the aisle seat, which I always request the window so that my dog isn't in the aisle getting tripped on, run over. That's just for safety reasons. And so they moved me to the window, and they should have blocked off the seat next to me so that Patience isn't in somebody else's lap or on somebody else's feet, which is always good. The lady who brought me down was very nice. It was the same lady who checked me in. She was lovely. Got me through security okay. Security can be varying levels of complicated. With a guide dog, you have people who don't know what the rules are, do know what the rules are, and depending on that, it can be either very smooth or very complicated. I describe it as getting the full meal deal every time I go through security because I always get a pat down, I always get wanded, I always get swabbed. They always have to do a visual inspection on the dog, they have to x-ray everything, and oftentimes they have to go through my bags as well because I'm not sure why I get singled out for that special treatment, but I guess that's just the way it is. They want to make sure that I'm not doing anything dangerous, which I'm not. In case you're thinking about traveling with a guide dog, the rules are that they cannot separate you from your dog. I always go through with my dog. Some people do it different ways where they go through the security first and then the dog comes through after. Because my dog's harness has a lot of metal in it, of course it's going to alarm, so they have to inspect the dog. Personally, I don't like to drop my leash in an airport ever, so I keep my dog on leash, and if it means I have to get a few extra screening procedures, so be it. They don't separate me from my dog. And they aren't actually allowed to touch their dog, but they are allowed to visually inspect your dog, so walk around and look at them. So I'm just gonna try and catch up on some work for the time being, and then I will catch up with you when I am headed for my flight. I am now outside of security again. My flight got canceled, so I am waiting to board the next flight home. It's always an adventure when you're flying. There was a whole issue where the flight got canceled, they announced the cancellation, and I couldn't find anybody to help me, and I got abandoned at the gate, and had to try and figure out my way out, and somebody eventually came and helped me, but it was challenging and frustrating, and I didn't think I was going to even be able to get home today. So let's hope that this flight doesn't get canceled due to smoke, and hopefully I'll be up and on my way. I'll check back in with you once I'm on the other side of security. I have made it through security once again. Patience doesn't seem to be too bothered by the fact that we've been all over the place today. She seems pretty content to people watch. Are you laying down? Can you see her there? And now I just have to wait for somebody to come find me to help me get on the flight. I double checked that they put me really close to the gate and that I was in the line of sight of the gate agent so I don't get forgotten. And I double checked that they had somebody to meet me on the other end so I don't get abandoned there either. I'm not superstitious, but it's been a bit of a day. It's Friday the 13th, so if you are superstitious, maybe that means something. This is maybe my defense mechanism for being taken seriously as a human being and not being infantilized. I've done some randomized testing. I know the sample size is just 1, so maybe it's just coincidence, but I do find that people tend to talk to me like a person and don't call me honey or sweetie as much when I look like I'm going somewhere for business. So hopefully we'll be boarding the flight soon, and then I'll show you what happens on the flight. This is Patience. And I'm just kind of, if you don't mind, I'm not going to show your face or anything. I'm just filming the process of what it's like traveling with a guide dog.
Oh, I love it.
Let's hyperspeed through the long walk up the boarding ramp to the plane. Normally, I have Patience guide me, or she follows the attendant who takes me to the plane entrance, then Patience guides me onto the plane.
On the plane. Hello. How are you doing? Good, thanks.
Depending on the type of plane, I usually count the seat backs to get to my specific row. On this plane, it was very nice. They had braille labels just under the overhead bins, so I could read those and make sure I was lined up with the correct row to get into my assigned seat.
We are now situated in our seat. I just spoke to the flight attendant. Technically, there is supposed to be somebody in the window seat, but if I ask very nicely, they usually move that person. And the reason is because Patience is very, very long. If she was in the aisle and the middle seat, which is what we ended up booking because this is a very last minute flight, she would have been in the aisle and getting stepped on or rolled over by carts, which just isn't safe. So I usually try and keep her in these 2 seats. They were nice enough to give me an extra seat beside me, so again, she's not going to be on anybody's feet. I know that a lot of guide schools recommend tucking your dog straight under the seat, but I have had a lot of issues where people tuck bags under there or they kick backwards, and my dogs have been kicked and poked and had things dropped on them, so I just don't find it's that safe, so I'd much rather have a pucho on my feet for a couple of hours. Oh, are you trying to curl? Okay, I'll let you have that seat and I'll go to the window then. So this is usually the safest spot for her. I'll keep a hand on my leash the whole time. Oh, yeah, I dropped your leash. Peishi loves flying. She likes airplanes. Don't you, Wiki? Yeah. Happy flyer. We've done a lot of flying together, haven't we, Pooch? She knows what her role is. Basically, she just gets on the plane and sleeps. There isn't a whole lot more to it than that. And then if anything happens, they usually come and let me know. But this is where we'll be for the next couple of hours. We'll be up, and on our way soon.
I hope you enjoy this taxi and takeoff footage shot by yours truly. The process of takeoff and landing isn't too complicated with a guide dog. I keep my hand on her leash so I'm aware of where she is in space, and I use my body as necessary to help block her from sliding because the plane takes off at a significant angle. Thankfully, at this point, the air had cleared enough that we were able to leave the airport safely, but it took a long time to get over the smoke cloud made by the forest fires where I was staying. After we're up and in the air, I usually lean down and give Peishi a few little snuggles and scriffles just to make sure that she's safe, comfortable, and to let her know she did a good job. For the remainder of the flight, I usually pop in a set of headphones, have a nap, and then de-stress after the trip through the airport. Landing is very much the same procedure as takeoff. I keep a hand on the leash, and I try and prevent her from sliding around as much as possible. Usually the wheels contacting the ground and coming down the tarmac wakes her up, and then she's ready and rearing to go for another trip through the airport.
We made it. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to hear me here because it's going to get pretty loud. But now that we've landed, I wait till absolutely everybody gets off the plane, and then Pooch and I will disembark. How was your nap? How was your nap? Good nap? Pretty good? Yeah, she's pretty sleepy. So I'm gonna wait till everybody's off the plane, meet up with whoever's gonna guide me to the arrivals lounge, and then hopefully find my luggage. For those of you who are curious how I find my luggage, I can't. The most reliable solution I found is right before I take off, I take a photo of my bag, and that way I can show it to whoever's helping me find my bag, if it isn't a family member or a friend or somebody who knows what my bag looks like. See you when we get off the plane. I am now home. Unfortunately, I didn't catch any of the footage after I got off the plane because my phone died, but I am now home safe and sound. A lovely lady helped me off the plane, helped me find my bags, and connect with Robbie outside in the car. So it was a relatively seamless experience on this end, and I'm really happy to be home after almost a month away, and I'm excited to get back and make some new videos for you. I hope you enjoyed this video and it gave you a little bit of a hint or an idea of what it's like traveling with a guide dog. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those down below, but that's all I have for you today. If you like content like this, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.